Hi everyone, it's Kathy Zilski. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I've got a fun card project featuring some new products from Pinkfresh Studio, along with a really cool stamp set that I think is perfect for the person in your life who might like, oh, how does one say, the road less taken. All right, let's take a look at the products. This gorgeous stamp set is called Through the Trees. Now don't be alarmed by that yellow tone. I was stamping like crazy with an archival ink, but believe me, it's clean, cleaner than it looks, but it's a fantastic set. I love it. And I'm also using the basic label frames. This is a new release and I think these are fantastic. These layered nested shapes, all purpose, and I'm gonna get a lot of use out of those. For oxide inks today, I'm using pine needles, bundled sage, and evergreen. Is it bow or bow? Yeah, either way. I've got some embossing ink from Gina K, a little bit of gold embossing powder from Brutus Monroe, and some white as well. And I'll also be using a life-changing blender brush and some other products as we go. So first things first, I will take my embossing magic pad and I will remove all the static off my paper. This paper is Neenah Solar White Classic Crest, the 110 pound. And for my embossing ink today, I'm using the embossing ink from Gina K Designs. Gonna ink up my stamp really well. Go ahead and stamp it down. And because this is the season when I'm not wearing sleeves, I'll just bring in my Swiffer cloth that I use to wipe off embossing powder from my workspace. It works great to give a nice, smooth, even pressure. Now I'll add my powder. I'm getting a little low, This is a big piece to cover, so I'm gonna shake it all on here, get a nice coating. I'm trying not to send powder everywhere and gently let it slide off, just like that. All right, that's a nice coverage. And now I've got my heat tool nice and hot and I'll work my way around and melt all the powder. I like doing this on a big piece using the glass media mat because that media mat won't get harmed at all by the heat. And there you go, a nice impression and embossed image. Now it's time to add my color. I'm just using 3 colors here, and what I want to do is just create a blend where it's a little lighter in the middle, and I'm laying down the first color, which is the bundled sage. But between color application, I am going to bring in my paper towel. I like to be able to see exactly where everything is. I want to get that ink off before it has a chance to do anything to the embossed image. Of course, the idea of this is the emboss resist, right? The ink will not stay where there is that slick, smooth, shiny embossing powder. I'm just going to go and wipe it all off. I could have used clear for this too. I never think to use clear powder, but you could also do that. That would be a cool look. Same effect, I think. And now I'm coming in on the edge with the darkest color. And I really like this color because it's kind of got a blue tone to it, but it's just a nice, fresh green. And again, wiping it all off, and the magic of the emboss resist shows me my image below. I probably didn't need to have a paper piece that large, but I like to have a little extra space to hold on to when I'm blending. All right, just gonna add some flicks of water, not much, just a few here. Sprinkle those on to the piece and then just blot it off with a paper towel. And then I will set that aside to dry completely while I work on the other elements of the card project. I wanted to show you this brush cleaner. I'm going to link below to a video by my friend Lydia because this is how I learned to clean my blender brushes. Because with the oxides, you really do need to clean them well, or that ink, you can't just like tap it off. You need to wash it off. So I'll link to that video. Next, sentiment time. I wanted to use the Go Wild for a while and make sure that it had clearance inside of that label die. And I'm using a piece of Bristol Smooth, the Strathmore cardstock, because it's more of an off-white. And sometimes I find that it looks better with white embossed things because white embossed things don't always look super bright. Oh, that's my little tidy towel holder. I'll link that below too. Get asked about it, but I keep forgetting to show it. All right, time to add the gold powder. So just sprinkling that on to my little piece and I'm gonna tap it off. That looks nice. And now I'll go ahead and quickly heat set that until I get a nice shiny gold sentiment. Pretty. I'm going to die cut that piece, and I'm holding that in place with a little purple tape just so it doesn't shift. And also a piece of Kraft, because I want to mat this on a Kraft cardstock because I really think it'll be kind of a cool look. This is a card intended for my son, and so I didn't want it to be too shiny, but shiny enough, if that makes sense. All right. Pinkfresh Studio Diagonal Stitched Rectangles. This is another Elements. This came out with the last release. I'm going to trim down my cardstock just so it will fit through the die cut machine. But I framed it out. And now when I take the die off, you can see it has this really cool texture around the edge. There was also a tiny piece of cardstock left over from another project that left a little divot. It's going to be fine. No one's going to care. Next, I wanted to get one more piece of cardstock to mat this sentiment. And I have these rings with swatches. One is from Simon Says Stamp and one is from Gina K. And as soon as I saw that Christmas pine swatch, I'm like, that's the color. So I cut myself a little swatch from a larger piece and cut that next size, and they will all nest together beautifully. I'm going to use a little dot runner adhesive and just add them to the back of each piece, and then I can glue them together. And of course, they'll each have that nice little bit of framed margin space around the edges. I think that looks really nice. I'm adding some foam tape to the back to pop that up so that there will be a little dimension on the front of the card. Now I'm going to prepare my card base. This will be a top folding card, 5.5 tall by 4.25 wide, which is a standard US A2 size. But after I folded it, I decided I'm going to show you this because I stamp greetings on the inside. And the cool thing about the MISTI is you can open up your card base, you can add your sentiment. This is the matching ink to that Christmas pine. Ink it up, and when you press down with the MISTI door, your card will not be marred in any way. It'll be just fine. You don't crease it, you just bring it out. There you go. I added foam tape to the back of the blended panel. I'll take all that off and then just line that up on the card base so there's a nice little framing margin space of that Kraft coming through. So pretty. And then I brought out my T-square just to quickly help me line up the sentiment greeting panel right there in the center. And I thought, well, that's pretty good. This would be ready to give to my son, but I thought, I got another little cool thing from Pinkfresh Studio, and that is this brand new jewels mix. Ah, so cute, awesome colors. Comes in this little acrylic container with all these little individual containers. So I just laid out where I wanted my jewels to go, grabbed my Gina K Connect glue, and just adhered them all. I'm only showing you one because I'm using a jewel picker here for this type of jewel. I struggle with the jewel picker. I don't know if I can recommend it wholeheartedly because it took me a little while to get those all down. So that's my finished card project for today. Again, I will be giving this to my son when he returns home from his freshman year in college, encouraging him to go wild for a little while, but, within limits. Thanks so much for watching. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my channel, and I will see you back here with another card project soon.